Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're doing a top 10. And this one's a special top 10. Being as that this video is going to release on Thanksgiving, this is my top 10 things that I'm thankful for in pro wrestling. With that being said, let's jump right into it. And this is more of a top 10 in name only. These are just 10 things I'm thankful for. I did rank them, but realistically, it's all just things I'm thankful for. The order on this top 10 really isn't that important. Starting off with that being said, number 10, all the different options we have. Besides having AEW, besides having WWE, we have Impact, Game Changer Wrestling, New Japan Strong, AAA. There's a whole bunch of things with the proliferance of the internet and stuff like the Fight Network and Bleacher Report and the different methods that we can watch wrestling. We're getting an influx of wrestling from everywhere. I could go to the Fight app and see 10 different promotions, whether it be NWA, whether it be Game Changer Pro Wrestling, whether it be MLW on YouTube, or Women of Wrestling in syndication. There's so much different wrestling coming from so many different avenues that if you're a fan of pro wrestling, you're gonna find stuff that you like. You may have to go through a bunch of different things to find which one you prefer, but it's out there. I like most of the content, so it's a smorgasbord for a person like me. Now, coming from that, our number 9. This one is the one I question putting on here the most, and I even consulted with my cousin Samantha about this to see if it would be creepy if I put this on here. Now, with that being said, it's probably more creepy than I'm talking about it being creepy. But our number 9, Gigi Dolan. Look, I'm a guy, I'm a straight male. I think Gigi Dolan is extremely attractive, and I just love watching her wrestling. That's how I'm gonna put it there. I love her Instagram, and in the pursuit of being fair, I also consulted, same with my cousin Samantha, I consulted with her, and we've decided we're also going to put up Finn Balor there for those of you that like men. So we got a beautiful woman, a beautiful man up there. Again, not going totally tongue-in-cheek, but yeah, there's a reason why some of us are tied or enjoy certain wrestlers. My mother famously loved Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. It wasn't until I got old enough to realize she liked Ricky the Dragon Steamboat because she liked the way he looked. There's a lot to that. I mean, if you're attracted to, and I'm not saying, I don't care if you're a man attracted to a man, a woman attracted to a woman, whatever it may be. If you see professional athletes in the best shape of their lives, and they look like that, you're going to find something you're attracted to. Just saying. With all that being said, moving on to our number 8. This one I toyed with not putting on the list at all, but if he is done with wrestling, and we've seen his final hurrah, I am thankful for CM Punk. And I know he's a controversial figure. He is a guy that helped me keep being a wrestling fan in a lot of years where wrestling didn't have much to care about. His runs in both Ring of Honor, in the WWE, even this run in AEW, it brought an excitement to me that I hadn't had since before ECW and WCW went out of business. In the mid-2000s, or early 2000s, early to the 2010s, I could have easily stopped watching wrestling, but a guy like CM Punk was out there, guys like Bryan Danielson as well, Samoa Joe, a lot of that Ring of Honor crew, the AJ Styles of the world, were out there doing the thing, and if it wasn't for someone like CM Punk, I may have tuned out of wrestling and never came back. He was a guy that helped keep my interest through a lot of the years where there wasn't really a lot to care about, so for that, for his amazing career, I want to say thank you. Now, coming from that, our number 7. Probably on a really serious note, this is one I'm thankful because it's helped me deal with stuff in my personal life. The Click This podcast with Kevin Nash and Sean Oliver. A lot of you may know Kevin Nash just had his son Tristan pass. Rest in peace, and I know he'll never see this, but if for any chance you do, Kevin, just know that you've helped me. The day that this video releases is going to be 1 year since my stepfather passed away, exactly 1 year to the day. And I've been pushing off the grief of that a lot. And early in February, one of my good friends passed away as well, my good friend Dee. And it's been a rough year for those reasons. The reason I brought the videos back, was I needed something to distract me from what I was going through with my stepfather passing away. And a lot of people hear stepfather and they don't have a close relationship. My real father died when I was my stepfather came into my life when I was 14. I'm 45. So for 31 years, this man was my father. He treated me as his son. He was fantastic to me. He wasn't a perfect man by any stretch of the means. None of us are. But even when he had his flaws, there was one thing that always stuck out, and it was how much he loved me, and he loved my brothers, and he loved my sister. It's been a really rough year, and you can probably tell by the crackle in my voice, I'm still not able to deal with it. And listening to something like Kevin Nash come on and talk about his son and how he's dealing with it, believe it or not, has really helped. I was going to listen to his podcast anyway because I think Kevin Nash is an interesting person and he's a wrestler that I really enjoyed during his time. But for that reason, I wanted to put it on the list because I'm very thankful for that, because it is helping. It is helping me process my grief, listening to how he's processing. And I know it's cliche to say, but sometimes it helps. And, you know, if you're someone that's grieving, however you can do it, whoever helps and however helps, that's great to do, and let them know that you're thankful for. Now, moving on from that, our number 6, Tales from the Territory. I love this show. This show's fantastic. It's been said maybe the stories are a little bit embellished, maybe they're a little bit over exaggerated, but they're fantastic. Nothing better than hearing a bunch of old wrestlers sit around and talk about old wrestling stories and what it was like in the different territories, and seeing guys in some cases that I haven't seen in years or haven't even thought of in years showing up on my television screen and talking about these fantastic little pockets of the world where what the territory system was. I grew up at the tail end of the territory system during the 80s. They were dying out. Of course, Vince McMahon went national and kind of drove that to the end. So I got a little bit of the territory system, but not to the extent that we have here, not to the extent that they're covering here. And it's fantastic hearing these stories and hearing these, basically a lot of the guys I grew up loving and a lot of the guys that made me love and want to watch wrestling, hearing their tales of that era in just a fantastic and interesting time in history. Now, going from that, our number 5, The Great Muta. The Great Muta is going to retire early next year, and the reason I wanted to put him on this list, first off, he's had a fantastic career, but The Great Muta was the guy that led me to look for Japanese wrestling. Before The Great Muta, before I seen him in WCW, and then knowing he was in World Class before that as a different character, but I digress. I went back and watched that. Seeing him in early WCW, there was just something that drew me to Muta. And then when I found out that Muta wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling, that's when I wanted to search out the tapes and started getting tapes of New Japan or All Japan when he was there, or whatever company he was in, and kind of following his career in Japan, which started my love for Japanese wrestling, which I've kind of carried on through the years to the point where my favorite wrestling now is either New Japan or New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Strong, all coming from that one spark of seeing the Great Muta sparked an interest that made me go down a path that now I'm watching the Jay Whites of the world, that I'm watching the Tanahashis of the world, the Okadas of the world, the Taichis, the Dokis, all of the great talent that I watch every time I get a chance on New Japan. It all ties back to the Great Muta. And for that, I gotta say, I'm thankful, because he opened up a brand new world of possibilities and a brand new world of wrestling that's more catered to what my personal liking would be. Now, coming from that, our number 4, speaking of my personal liking and speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong. If you notice, the only consistent weekly television show that's going on right now that I review is New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong. And there's a reason for that. It's my favorite of all the wrestling shows. I like it better than Dynamite, I like it better than Raw, I like it better than SmackDown. I'm not saying these are bad shows, I like it better than Impact. This is a show that week after week, it's the one show I really look forward to. Now, that's not to say I don't look forward to stuff that we're going to see on Raw, SmackDown, Impact, whatever else it may be. Rampage, Dynamite, any of those shows. There's stuff I look forward to there. But I don't look forward to them as much as a show as I look forward to New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, which is why they made this list. My favorite show of the year just another thing that I'm thankful for in pro wrestling. Now, coming from that, our number 3, we've already talked about it with the potential end of CM Punk's wrestling career and the definite end of the Great Muta's wrestling career. Another guy that I have to say I'm thankful for, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And I know it's not a popular year to say you're thankful or appreciate Vince. I know he's been a lot of turmoil this year, a lot of scandal, which is why he had to step down. But I gotta say I am thankful. I grew up in the Northeast. I grew up just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the wrestling that we got was WWF. The first wrestlers that I started watching were on WWF television. First people I really cared about were Dr. D. David Schultz and Roddy Piper, which kept me watching, which then grew to liking the different guys that would come in, like Snuka, Orndorff, the British Bulldogs, all of the greats of that era. Don Morocco, Tito Santana, Randy Savage, and that's where my fandom started, was watching a product that Vince McMahon put out. And say what you want to say about Vince, good, bad, and different. Almost all of you that are watching this video, he was your gateway into pro wrestling. Now I know there's some of you guys that watched other shows, that like other shows more than you liked like Vince's show. You may have came in from WCW, ECW. I know there's people that are watching my shows that come from the territory days, that loved Memphis wrestling or loved Florida wrestling or whatever their local territories were. But all of us as wrestling fans, gotta say Vince McMahon gave us a lot of joy in our life, whether it be the rise of Stone Cold, whether it be watching Bret Hart's incredible career, whether it be if you're a John Cena fan or a Roman Reigns fan or Brock Lesnar. So many great moments, so many great WrestleManias, and it all came from this one gentleman. So I have to add Vince to the list, and I have to say thank you, Vince McMahon, for everything you did for pro wrestling. It would not be the same without you. I could definitely say that. Now, going from Vince, our number 2. This is a guy I'm just thankful that he's still alive, and that's the living legend, the hardcore icon, Terry Funk. I had to put him on the list. Every year that Terry Funk is still alive, it warms my heart, because there's always a chance that he's going to wrestle one more match. And I know it's selfish, and I know it would be a terrible match, but for my personal reasons, I'd love to see him wrestle one more match. And there's another thing that's on my bucket list. Terry's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Out of my favorite wrestlers of all time, he's the one I haven't got to meet yet. I've met most of the rest. Him and Piper. Piper I didn't get to meet before he passed away either, which is kind of a shame. But I got to meet Dusty Rhodes. I got to talk to Dr. D. David Schultz on the phone, which was awesome. That was, again, for a podcast I was working on. I got to meet Dreamer, I got to meet the Dudley Boys, all these different people that I grew up idolizing. The only one that's left that I haven't met is Terry Funk, and every year that he's alive means that there's always going to be that opportunity that I could potentially meet him at some point. Also, I can't imagine a world where Terry Funk isn't out there doing something. I mean, he is the Desperado, as the song says, so I can't imagine there being a Double Cross Ranch without Terry Funk. Now, before we get into our number 1, we normally do a thing here called the best of the rest. Again, like I said, this is more of a loose top 10. You can substitute any of the 10. It's more 10 things that I'm thankful for in wrestling. Some of them, yeah, maybe more important than others, but you get what I'm saying. So we do a thing called the best of the rest. It's basically stuff that didn't make the list, but was also into consideration. First up, Sami Zayn. Everything that Sami Zayn does this year, or has done this year, has turned to gold. Whether it be his matches with Johnny Knoxville, his bloodline involvement, where he was trying to get into the group and now in the group, him going out there and doing absolutely anything he possibly can to make the bloodline crack on national TV, is some of the best wrestling television I've seen in a long time. The guy's a fantastic wrestler. His matches are great. They've always been great. He's always been a great character. This year, he's took it to another level where I would dare to say he's one of the most interesting, if not the most interesting wrestler in all of wrestling. I love everything Sami Zayn is doing, and I am so thankful that we're getting to see this character development of him. Now, next up on our best of the rest, I'm thankful for Triple H. Yes, I did talk a lot about what Vince McMahon has given to us, but I think we can all admit towards the end that Vince's vision, Vince's vision had gotten stale and it didn't keep up with the times, and since Triple H has taken over, he's brought back wrestlers we like. His shows seem to be going at a more brisk pace. He corrected some of the wrongs, turning Max Dupree back in LA Knight, bringing back a lot of the wrestlers like Bray Wyatt that were cut, bringing back a Johnny Gargano. Just a lot of really great stuff, and I really enjoy the booking that he's been doing now. And that's not to say he's not going to burn out in 2 or 3 years, but for the small sample size that we have, I really enjoy what he's done. Now, normally I say before we get to our number one, if you think I put something too high, something too low, let me know. We'll talk about what we're going to say at the end of the show. But our number one thing, and this is the only one that was definitely going to be a number one, this is the main thing I'm super thankful for, and that's you guys. I get to come on here, and I'm not making a killing off these videos. I just barely got monetized. I'm barely making anything off these videos. If I broke it down by the time I spend to the money I make off of these, I probably make less than $1 an hour on these. But anyway, I digress. That's not to say I don't appreciate you guys. And I got a list of some people up here. I'm probably going to forget names, I'm probably not going to say all these names over here. But I do want to say, if you don't hear your name and you don't see your name on this list, it's not because I don't appreciate you, it's just because it slipped my mind. Some of the people I want to say thank you to, definitely Bucky749, his brother Jeremy. He's always been a supporter and he's always commenting, always giving me great suggestions. Steve and Alistair, same thing, they've always supported. If you go back on all my videos, 90% of them, those guys all have comments on. And I really appreciate that because that really helps me to grow the channel, where maybe one day I will get a lot of money off of this. No, I don't want a lot of money, but enough to make it a job. That'd be the dream. I thank you guys. You guys are all amazing. My friend Sean, you're awesome. If you happen to watch this, I know you watch some of my videos, but you're amazing. I definitely appreciate you. Your outlook on life and how positive you are about everything is infectious, and you're a great friend to me, Sean. And that could be 2 different Seans, to be honest with you, but both of you Seans, no matter which one he is watching, you're both the same. I think you're both awesome. Bob and Laura from Live from the Armory, you really helped me. Like I said, when I mentioned it was a podcast I helped work on, it was really great, and I got to meet a lot of great people, and it really helped me on this show as well. It helped me learn, not necessarily what to do or not to do. It helped me change the show to something where it's more of a conversation, and it's from talking with those guys over and over again. Those guys are both amazing. Paul, you're my brother from another mother. You're the initial inspiration from the show way back when I started it a decade ago originally, and you continue to be an inspiration. I got your back no matter what you do. I love you, my brother, and I appreciate everything you've ever done. Gary, who I started the show with, I'm thankful for you. Samantha, my cousin, I mentioned you already in the show. John, your beautiful husband, I love both of you guys. Sammy, you're like a little sister to me. John, you've grown to be like a brother to me. You guys are my family. I love you so much. I love your children, both little Sam and Eden. Fantastic kids. I love them both. I love you guys both so much, and I appreciate all the support you've given me over the years. And I'm probably, again, like I said, I'm probably going to forget a bunch of names, and I don't mean to. I don't mean to forget you. Like I said, if you see yourself up here, you don't see yourself or you haven't heard your name, I do appreciate you as well. And even if this is the first video you've ever watched, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that takes the time to smash a like button, to leave a comment. I like to do a call to action at the end. They're called call to actions, but realistically, every comment helps to build the channel. So when I do those call to actions, all you guys that comment, that really helps my channel grow. And it's kind of selfish, but it's also, I want to see that you're engaged as well. I want to make sure that you're liking what I'm doing. I've taken a lot of my suggestions directly off of the comments, so if you're watching this and you have some comments, some critiques, let me know down in the comments. So my friend Sean, he was the one that first told me for a long time my videos had no graphics, it was just me talking. He's the one that told me I had to spice it up, that I couldn't be punk rock like I liked it to be. And from that, now you get graphics, you get the edits of the silences edited out of the videos instead of just one long droning run-on sentence with long pauses. Now the pauses are taken out, and that's all because of Sean, and that's a good thing. This year we passed 1,000 1,000 subscribers, which got me monetized, which is amazing. I really appreciate that. You guys don't know how much I appreciate that. Like I was talking about earlier, I came back to doing this and doing videos. I was fully going to stop. I had stopped for a year and a half, and because the show, I mean, ultimately, it wasn't making me money. It wasn't going there. I had burnout. But it became a way to distract me. And I said to myself, I gave myself a year. And I started back in December of last year. I said, I gave myself a year. If I could make it to 1,000 and make it to where I could get monetized, I'm going to keep going. And I gave myself a year to make that. I buckled down. I made a schedule, which I've never done before. I just put out videos whenever. I tried to keep that schedule as much as I could. There were some personal things like a hurricane that didn't make it for 1 week, and a couple other issues that I've missed, but I try to keep you guys informed when I do miss, or I'm going to miss a show. But I just want to say thank everybody, and I am so thankful for all of you. Again, I'm probably rambling on at the end of this, and probably if this was the Oscars, you'd start hearing that music to wrap it up song, so I'm going to cut this a little short. Again, if I missed your name and I see you and you know I talked to you, just know I appreciate you, even if I forgot to say your name here. With all that being said, let's smash that like button, share the video, subscribe. Again, this all really helps, guys. If you made it all the way to the end here, let me know something in pro wrestling that you're thankful for. If you're watching this on Thanksgiving, the day it releases, have a happy Thanksgiving. From me and my family to you and yours. I hope you have a happy, safe Thanksgiving and a happy holidays. We're going to get more during the holiday season. We're going to do more videos. But just know, I am thankful for all of you. With that being said, my name is George Coles, and this has been another Heel Heat Top 10.